A stranger in the storm. The wind howled across the frozen valley like a wild beast searching for prey. Daniel sat inside his small, heated tent, trying to enjoy a warm can of soup. Outside, the alien world was deep in snow. The storm had come, quickly. Thick white layers covered everything. His hands trembled a little, not from fear but from the cold that even his heater couldn't fully push away. Suddenly something moved. Daniel's head snapped toward the tent entrance. He paused, listening. Was it just the wind? Another low sound, closer this time. A soft crunch like footsteps in deep snow. He reached for the small blaster next to his bag. Carefully, he unzipped the flap and peered out. There she was. A figure, small and shaking, barely standing against the harsh winds. Snow stuck to her dark purple skin. She wore thin, torn clothes, completely useless against this kind of weather. Her eyes were large, glowing faintly in the dim light, and filled with something Daniel recognized immediately. Fear. Help, she whispered before falling forward. Daniel caught her just in time. She was light, too light, and cold like ice. He pulled her into the tent and zipped it closed fast. Snow blew in behind them, but he didn't care. The girl was unconscious, her body curled in on itself, shaking. He placed her near the heater and covered her with one of his spare thermal blankets. Her skin looked bruised and her arms were marked with strange symbols. She wasn't just cold, she had been through something. As she warmed up, she stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, locking onto his. "Well, where am I?" she asked, her voice soft, almost childlike. "You're safe in my tent," Daniel said calmly. "You were outside in the storm." She blinked, then sat up quickly, looking around with panic. "Did they follow me?" "Who?" Daniel asked. "The ones who owned me," she replied, her voice breaking. Daniel didn't ask more. Not yet. "I'm Daniel," he said instead. "And I don't let people freeze to death. You're safe here." The girl stared at him, unsure, her lips turning purple from the cold. "I just needed heat. Please don't hurt me." Daniel shook his head. "I won't. Rest." She nodded slowly, then lay back down, closer to the heater this time. She pulled the blanket tightly around herself. But something strange started to happen. Her skin began to glow. Faintly at first, then brighter. Her cheeks flushed and her breathing grew heavier. Daniel noticed and frowned. "You okay?" She looked at him wide-eyed. You're human?" "Yes." Her face went red. "No wonder. The heat feels different." She closed her eyes tightly, as if trying to control something. Daniel moved back a little. "What's happening to you?" "My species. We react to warmth, especially human warmth. It triggers instincts." "What kind of instincts?" he asked, suddenly nervous. She didn't answer directly. Instead, she pulled the blanket over her face and whispered, "You should keep your distance. I didn't mean for this." Daniel stayed quiet. He didn't know what to do. She wasn't dangerous, at least not yet, but clearly something was happening that neither of them expected. A few minutes passed in silence. The only sound was the wind howling outside and the quiet hum of the heater. Then she spoke again very softly. "Thank you, Daniel, for not leaving me out there." He nodded. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Leah." "Okay, Leah, you can stay tonight. We'll figure out what to do tomorrow." She smiled just a little and closed her eyes again. But outside the tent, something else moved through the snow. Something watching. Something that wanted Leah back, and it was getting closer. Daniel woke up to the sound of breathing, soft, fast, and very close. His eyes opened slowly, and for a second, he didn't remember where he was. Then the cold wind howling outside reminded him, the alien planet, the snowstorm, and the girl. He turned slightly. Leah was curled up beside him, still wrapped in the thermal blanket. But now, half of her body was pressed against his chest, and her skin was warm, too warm. Her body shimmered again with that faint purple glow. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. And her hands, tiny, delicate, were gripping his jacket tightly, as if she had clung to him in her sleep. Daniel felt awkward. He hadn't meant to sleep this close. Maybe she moved during the night, or maybe she needed the warmth. Either way, this wasn't something he was ready for. Gently, he shifted away. But the moment he moved, Leah's eyes snapped open. "No," she said quickly, grabbing his arm. "Please, don't pull away." Daniel blinked, unsure what to say. "I didn't mean to disturb you. You were cold. That's all." "I know," she whispered. "But it's not just about being cold. You humans, your body heat is different. It's like fire to my kind." She sat up now, hugging the blanket tightly, still holding his gaze. Daniel tilted his head. "What do you mean different?" Leah looked down, her cheeks glowing brighter. "Where I come from, physical warmth, it's sacred. Our bodies react. Emotions become stronger. Instincts rise. I tried to control it. But sleeping next to you, it's difficult." Daniel swallowed hard. He had only wanted to help her survive, but now something more complicated was happening. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable," he said. "You didn't," she replied. "You saved me. I just don't want you to think I'm doing this on purpose." Daniel sat up, rubbing his temples. "Okay, let's take it slow. You're safe here, but if you're in any kind of danger, if someone's after you, I need to know." Leah looked at the tent entrance, then back at him. "They're called collectors. They capture girls like me, young, alone, without clan or protector. They bring us to worlds where we're hunted for sport." Daniel's heart dropped. "You mean, like animals?" Leah nodded, her eyes glassy. "I escaped before the hunt began. I ran into the snow. I didn't think I'd live past the night." Daniel clenched his fists. "You're not going back, not while I'm alive." Leah looked surprised. "Why would you risk yourself for me? I'm not even human." Daniel gave her a half smile. "You knocked on my door in the middle of a storm. That's all that matters." Outside, the storm had started to slow. The sky turned from black to pale gray. Daniel peeked through the tent flap and saw something that made his blood freeze. Tracks, fresh, ones leading straight to the tent. He turned back. "Leah, get your things, someone's been here." Leah's body stiffened. "They found me." Daniel grabbed his blaster, the old, scratched one from his Earth military days. He had hoped he'd never need it again. "Do they come alone?" he asked. "No, at least two, sometimes more. They wear armor and carry cold rifles." "Then we need to move fast." Leah started packing what little she had, but suddenly she paused and turned to him. "Wait." She walked over and placed her palm flat against his chest, just over his heart. Daniel stared at her, confused. "What are you doing?" "This is a bond gesture," she whispered. "It creates a memory imprint. If they catch me, they'll know I belong to someone. They'll think twice." Daniel blinked. "Wait, what?" But it was already done. A tiny spark, like warm electricity, moved from her hand to his chest. Leah smiled faintly. "Now they'll feel fear when they see you." Daniel shook his head, half amused, half worried. "That's a lot of pressure." Leah opened the flap. But before they could step out, a voice rang through the wind. "Surrender the girl, or both of you die." The snow near the tent exploded in a flash of blue light. The shockwave knocked Daniel backward, his ears ringing. Leah screamed. Daniel grabbed her and pulled her behind a storage crate inside the tent. His old military instincts kicked in fast. Cover. Position defense. He peeked out the flap, his blaster already in hand. Outside, 3 tall shadows moved through the snow. They wore black armor with glowing red eyes. No faces, just helmets. Long rifles were slung across their backs, and their hands carried stun lances sparking with blue energy. One of them raised a speaker device to his helmet. "You have 10 seconds, human. Surrender the girl. She is property of the Valcor collectors. She has no rights, Daniel shouted back. She's not your property. She's under my protection. Silence. Then the lead hunter raised his hand, and the others began spreading out. Inside the tent, Leah was shaking. Not from the cold, but from fear. They're going to burn the tent down, she whispered, clutching the thermal blanket like armor. Daniel took a deep breath. Then we don't wait. He yanked open the back flap of the tent and dragged Leah through the snow. They sprinted downhill, wind blasting their faces. Daniel fired a few wild shots behind him. The blasts didn't hit, but they made the hunters pause. Where are we going? Leah gasped. There's a cave I spotted yesterday when I was scouting. If we can reach it, we might have a chance. They ran. Footprints vanished behind them quickly as snow kept falling. But the collectors weren't tracking by footprints. They were using heat sensors, and Daniel had just bonded with Leah. Their shared warmth would glow like a torch. As they neared the rocky slope, Leah stumbled. Daniel caught her, lifted her onto his back, and kept running. You don't give up, do you? She mumbled, resting her head on his shoulder. Not when someone's depending on me. Behind them, the storm cleared for just a second, and a blast of blue fire shot through the air. It missed by inches, exploding against the cliffside. Daniel dove into the entrance of the narrow cave, rolled, and covered Leah's body with his. Dust and snow rained down, but they were in. Alive. For now, inside the cave it was pitch black. Daniel turned on his wrist light. The cave stretched deep, twisting and old. Ice crystals sparkled along the ceiling, and strange symbols were etched into the walls. This place is ancient, Leah said softly, standing up beside him. Daniel nodded. But its cover, that's all that matters now. Leah looked at him. No. Look. She walked to the nearest wall and touched the markings. They glowed. Daniel stared. They're not just symbols, Leah whispered. They're from the old world. My people once lived here, before the hunters came. The light from the wall pulsed. As Leah moved deeper inside, the glow followed her, like the cave responded to her presence. Daniel followed, confused. What is this place? It's called a heart chamber. Only those with a flame bond can enter without harm. Daniel raised an eyebrow. A what? She smiled. The bond you accepted earlier. When I touched your chest, it wasn't just a symbol. It awakened something between us. Daniel sighed. I thought you meant it was just a distraction. It was. And more. Before he could reply, a deep rumble echoed from the tunnel behind them. The collectors had entered the cave. Leah's glow faded. She stepped back, eyes wide. This is sacred ground. If they defile it, then we hold them back, Daniel said, raising his blaster. I'm not letting them take you. Daniel, she whispered. You don't have to do this. I do, he said, taking position near the entrance. Because no one, human or alien, deserves to live in chains. The glow from the wall returned and wrapped around his body like mist. Leah gasped. The cave, it's recognizing you. Daniel felt a strange warmth move through his skin. His hand tightened around the blaster. He wasn't just fighting. With weapons now, he was fighting with something older, something bigger. The blaster beam lit up the cave like lightning. It struck the lead collector in the chest, hard enough to knock him back but not enough to stop the others. The tunnel shook as the second hunter stormed forward, slamming his lance into the icy wall. The electric spark danced down the corridor. Crawling toward them, Daniel grabbed Leah and pulled her behind a jagged stone. His breath came fast. So did hers. We can't stay here, Daniel muttered. They'll corner us. But Leah wasn't looking at the hunters. She was staring at Daniel, her eyes glowing with something wild and deep. Your heat. It's changing me. Daniel blinked. Leah, now's not the time. No, listen, she said urgently. I feel something inside me waking up. It only happens when a full bond is formed. Another blast hit the wall behind them, shaking snow and rock loose. Daniel looked over the edge. One hunter was aiming, the other was flanking. He only had 3 shots left in his blaster. Not enough. Leah reached out suddenly and touched Daniel's face with both hands. "I need your warmth," she whispered. Daniel froze. Her palms were hot, almost burning. Her glow grew brighter, spreading from her chest to her shoulders, down her arms, to her fingers. Suddenly, energy pulsed through the air like a silent explosion. The cave stopped shaking. The hunters paused, confused. Then Leah stood up, not scared, not weak, transformed. Her body shimmered with a soft violet aura. Her hair lifted slightly as if carried by invisible wind. The symbols on the cave walls began to glow with her, responding to her presence. Daniel watched in awe. "What is this?" "My ancestors were flame-bonded guardians," she said calmly. "Our power was passed down through warmth, through trust. No one's ever triggered mine, until you." The first hunter charged forward. Leah raised her hand, and the ground itself responded. A wave of heat burst from her body, invisible but powerful. It melted the ice under the hunter's feet and sent him crashing into a wall with a loud metallic groan. The other 2 hesitated. "You are outlaws," one shouted. "She is marked for collection." "She is marked for freedom," Daniel growled, stepping beside her. "And I'll fight you to my last breath." Leah turned to him, her expression soft. "You don't have to fight alone anymore." Together they stepped forward. The cave grew warmer. The carvings on the wall moved, shifting, glowing, coming to life. They showed ancient humans standing beside alien guardians, joined by flame and snow, by light and shadow. The third collector tried to aim, but his weapon froze, then shattered in his hands. Leah's voice rang out clear. "You hunt me like prey, but I am the last flame-bearer of the old bond." The hunters backed away, confused. Then she raised both hands, and the heat within her ignited. Blue flames erupted from her palms, forming into long strands of dancing, fire that wrapped around her arms like armor. The collectors turned and ran. Daniel stood silently beside her, watching them vanish back into the snowstorm outside the cave. Leah dropped to her knees, breathing hard. Daniel rushed forward and caught her. "That was insane," he whispered, "but amazing." She looked up at him, her eyes soft. "I didn't know I had it in me. I think it's because you believed in me, and your warmth helped me find it." Daniel smiled gently. "Looks like we saved each other." For a moment, there was only silence between them. Then Leah leaned her head against his chest. "Daniel, do you think we were meant to meet?" He didn't answer right away, but his arms wrapped around her tighter, and the warmth between them burned quietly. In the cold cave. Outside, the wind howled again, but inside, they had found shelter, safety, and something far stronger. The fire went out. Not the fire in Daniel's chest, the real one. The cave's strange glowing walls dimmed, and the warm mist that once danced around Leah's body faded. Leah collapsed into Daniel's arms, her skin cold again. Her power, whatever it was, had gone silent. Daniel held her close. "Leah, stay with me." "I'm okay," she whispered, eyes barely open. "Just tired." Behind them, the icy wind crept in from the tunnel's mouth. The collectors were gone for now, but they wouldn't give up forever. Daniel looked deeper into the cave. The walls narrowed, twisting down into darkness. If they stayed here, the hunters might return with more firepower. But if they went forward, who knew what waited? He had no choice. "We need to move," he said, gently lifting Leah onto his back. She didn't protest, just rested her head against him, her breath warm against his neck. They stepped into the dark. The deeper they went, the stranger it got. Ice on the walls shimmered like glass. Shapes moved inside it, like shadows trapped in frozen time. The floor was smooth, as if carved by hands long gone. Old torches, long dead, lined the walls, covered in alien script. Then, a sound. Not from behind. From ahead. A deep growl. Daniel froze. Leah stirred weakly. That sound. What is it? There's something alive down here. He raised his blaster and pressed on, more carefully now. As they rounded a bend, the narrow tunnel opened into a massive chamber, a domed cave with a pool of still water in the center, glowing faint blue. Strange stone pillars circled it, cracked with age. On one of them was carved a warning in 3 languages. One was alien, the other was English. Only the bonded may pass, only the warm may be spared. Daniel stepped closer. Then the growl came again, louder, sharper. From the far side of the cave, something crawled into the light. It was huge, 8 feet tall, its body made of bone and frost, its eyes like ice marbles. It looked part beast, part machine. Chains dangled from its limbs. A long scar split its jaw open, leaking cold mist. Leah gasped. That's the Frost Warden. Daniel turned. The what? It guards this place. It was once a protector, but it was cursed long ago. It attacks anyone who enters without a completed bond. Daniel looked down at her. What does that mean? Leah looked away. Our bond isn't finished yet, the creature roared. It began stomping toward them, claws dragging sparks across the stone. Daniel raised his weapon. I don't care if it's half a god, I'm not letting it hurt you. He fired twice. The shots hit the beast but did nothing. They bounced off the creature's frozen armor. It swung a claw and smashed one of the pillars near Daniel, barely missing him. The chamber shook. Ice cracked. Leah struggled to stand. Daniel, stop. I'm not letting it touch you. No, listen. You can't fight it, you have to feel. Daniel turned. What? You have to finish the bond through choice. The creature charged. Daniel grabbed Leah's hand and with no more time to think, pressed her palm flat against his chest. Again, right over his heart. Leah gasped. You accept me? Daniel locked eyes with her. I already did. From the moment I let you in from the storm. A warm light burst between their hands. The bond completed. Their bodies glowed together, her purple fire blending with his golden warmth. It poured into the cave like sunlight. The Frost Warden stopped mid-charge, its head tilted. The mist around it faded. Then it stepped aside, and slowly returned to the shadows. Daniel blinked. What just happened? Leah smiled, stronger. Now. You didn't fight it, you trusted. That's what the old bond was built on. The carvings on the wall lit up again, brighter than ever. In the pool at the center of the chamber, a new image formed, a vision of the future. Daniel and Leah, side by side, standing in front of a group of other alien species, leading them. He stepped forward, still holding her hand. Looks like this. Cave had plans for us. Leah blushed. Do you think we're really bonded now? Daniel laughed softly. If we're not, then that thing nearly killing me was for nothing. She leaned her head against him. Then it was worth it. The pool shimmered like a mirror, but it didn't show their reflections. Instead, it showed a world long gone. Sky cities floating in the clouds, humans walking side by side with alien guardians, and a golden flame passed from heart to heart. Daniel stared in silence. What is this? He whispered. Leah stepped closer. Memories. This pool doesn't hold water. It holds history. The image shifted again, this time showing a human man kneeling in front of a glowing alien woman. His hand was over his chest, just like Daniel had done with Leah. Their bond created a light so strong it lit the entire sky in the vision. These were the flame-bonded, Leah said softly. In the beginning, our races were not strangers. We were partners, soul-bound, through warmth and trust. Daniel turned to her. What happened? Leah's eyes dimmed. War. Cold minds rose among both our people. They feared the bond, feared what it meant. The vision faded. Now the pool showed destruction, cities burning, the flame dying. The last pair, one human and one alien, being hunted just like Leah had been. Then the image stopped. The water stilled. Silence. Daniel took a step back. Why are we seeing this now? Because, Leah said, looking into his eyes, we've awakened the bond again. The cave sees it. The memory of the first fire lives in us. Daniel looked at his hand, still faintly glowing from the earlier burst of energy. I didn't ask for this. I know, Leah said, voice quiet. Neither did I. But it chose us anyway. Just then, a deep hum echoed through the cave. The floor vibrated gently under their feet. A line of light traveled along the stone, connecting the pool to a large circular door on the far side of the chamber. The ancient gate groaned open, revealing a spiral stairway going down into darkness. Leah stepped back. This wasn't here before. Daniel looked at her. You think we're supposed to go in? I don't think it's a question anymore. They descended carefully. The air got warmer the deeper they went, like walking into a sleeping furnace. The walls were smooth, covered with symbols that glowed softly as they passed. Some were written in languages Daniel couldn't read, but a few were strangely human. He ran his fingers across one of them. When the bond is restored, so too shall the heart awaken. They reached the bottom. The stairs ended at a chamber that felt more alive than anything else they had seen. The walls were beating, literally. A low, steady thump, thump, thump pulsed around them, like a giant heart made of stone. At the center of the room stood a large pillar of flame, hovering in midair. It spun slowly without burning the air around it. Leah gasped. That's it. That's the heart flame, the core of the old bond. Daniel approached it carefully. It's beautiful. It's powerful, Leah corrected, and dangerous, if mishandled. As they moved closer, the flame shifted color, from red to orange to white. It glowed warm, not hot. Then Daniel reached out. Wait, Leah shouted. It might burn you. But the moment his hand touched the light, it wrapped around his arm like silk. No pain, just warmth. It welcomed him. Leah stepped forward, tears in her eyes. It knows you. You're one of them. One of who? She touched the flame too. Together, their combined glow grew brighter than the flame itself. Around them, the walls shook again. Symbols rearranged themselves. And a deep voice echoed, not from a speaker, but from the cave itself. The bond is restored. The warmth has returned. The path is open. A new passage revealed itself in the floor. A ramp leading upward to the mountain's surface. Daniel looked at Leah. What do you think's up there? She smiled softly. A world that hasn't seen a flame bond in 1,000 years. He extended his hand. Then let's show them. Leah placed her hand in, her eyes glowing like twin stars. Together, they stepped into the light. The sky had changed. When Daniel and Leah stepped out from the mountain, it wasn't just the snowstorm that had passed. The clouds above had parted slightly, and the rising suns cast long beams of orange light across the frozen world. But peace didn't last long. High above, 3 collector ships hovered, dark, claw-shaped vessels that had been scanning the area for hours. One of them spotted them. A sharp tone echoed in the sky, followed by a voice broadcasted over the mountains. Flame bond detected. Target must be neutralized. Engage protocol. Cold extinguish. Daniel instinctively pulled Leah behind a boulder as red beams began burning the snow all around them. He held his blaster tight, but deep down he knew it wouldn't be enough. These guys never give up, he muttered. Leah stepped forward. She didn't hide this time. Her body began glowing again, but it was stronger now. Not just light, not just warmth. It was fire with purpose. "Let them come," she said quietly. Daniel stared. "Leah, what are you doing?" "I'm done running, Daniel. This bond wasn't given to us to hide. It was given to awaken something that's been sleeping too long." The air around her pulsed. The snow at her feet melted into water. Her cloak blew back as if a storm was building around her. "I choose the fire," she whispered. "And I choose you." The ships lowered, preparing to fire again, but the mountain rumbled, and from the cracks of stone beneath their feet, light surged up, a wave of ancient energy, summoned by their bond and powered by the cave they left behind. It raced up the side of the cliffs into the sky and hit the first ship like a hammer made of stars. The ship exploded. Daniel's jaw dropped. "Okay, that wasn't your average flame." Leah's eyes were glowing fully now, her hands covered in molten heat. "The bond is not just for connection. It's a force, a weapon, a warning." The second ship fired, but the energy bent midair, turning back toward the ship and blasting its engines. Daniel looked around. The wind itself was moving differently, as if it listened to her. The final ship hesitated, then turned away, engines roaring as it escaped the battlefield. The sky grew quiet again. No more voices, no more red beams, only smoke and silence. Daniel walked to Leah slowly, eyes wide. "You just drove off an entire hunter fleet." She looked at him, breathing calmly now. "No, we did. The flame listens to both of us." She touched his hand, and their warmth blended again. But then her smile faded slightly. "This will change things," she said quietly. "They won't stop. They'll tell the galaxy that the bond has returned. Then let them talk," Daniel said, squeezing her hand. "Maybe it's time someone reminded them who we are." She blinked. "You're not afraid?" "I'm human," he said. "Fear's never been what defines us." She laughed, a soft musical sound. "Then what does?" Daniel stepped closer. "Choosing the right thing, even when it's the hardest. That's what makes us human." She looked into his eyes. "Then let's show them the right way." Later that week, across the stars, transmissions were spreading. Grainy footage of a man and an alien woman walking hand in hand through the snow. Ships from multiple planets picked up the signal. Governments, traders, and rebels all paused to listen. A voice spoke through the feed. Leah's voice. "The flame is not gone. It lives in those who care, who protect, who choose love over power. The bond is back, and this time we will not let it be broken." Back on the mountain, Daniel and Leah stood near a campfire. It wasn't magical, just regular fire. But the warmth between them was more than enough. "Do you regret letting me in that night?" she asked softly, resting her head on his shoulder. Daniel smiled. "You knocked on my tent half frozen, nearly passed out, glowing slightly. And now you've lit half the galaxy on fire." He kissed her forehead. "No, I don't regret anything."